So you're thinking about moving to Sandy Springs? Well, I don't blame you, because it was voted one of the top 20 cities to live in all of America. And I'm sitting here in the Sandy Springs City Center, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But in this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you out to a couple of different neighborhoods and a couple of different properties, show you some homes in different price points, see if we can find something that fits in your budget. And if you stick around to the end, I'll come back and do a market recap so that you can get up to date on the current market here in Sandy Springs. So if you have any interest whatsoever in living here, you're going to want to stick around for that, and we're going to get after it right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good and the bad of living in Atlanta, Georgia, or in this case, Sandy Springs, then subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Atlanta. My name's Denny, and the team and I get calls each and every day from people just like you looking for help in making the move to Atlanta, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or even schedule a Zoom, and we'd be happy to help you make a smooth move to Atlanta. So I'm here in the Sandy Springs kind of city center area, and this was really all built in like the last couple of years, maybe the last 5 years. So as you can see, we've got a big community center and lots of commercial development going on, lots of residential. I'm standing here in an amphitheater. So down here they do car shows, movies, concerts, all kinds of activations. And Sandy Springs got a really interesting story. So it was originally settled, hundreds of years ago by Native Americans, but really the first U.S. federal government started doing land auctions, and this area was settled in the early 1800s. And then into the 1900s, really the story of Sandy Springs was one of which it was constantly trying to be annexed by the city of Atlanta, and constantly trying to get kind of approval to incorporate itself, and it finally did that in 2005. So yeah, it took until 2005. So now it's the city of Sandy Springs is incorporated, and they did an interesting it's called a PPP, a public-private partnership, where there were only 6 employees, and all the other services, ambulance, fire, all that kind of was all contracted out. And now over the last couple of years, I think by 2019, almost all of it was brought in-house. And so there's really only a few of those services that are still in that public-private kind of a partnership that are all contracted. But Sandy Springs has done a phenomenal job at continuing to develop the city center over the last couple of years. The skyline, one of the things that you'll notice about Sandy Springs, and it's right back this way, you can't see it, maybe I'll try to show it to you somewhere else in the video, but there's this concourse tower. It's affectionately known as the King and Queen building here around Atlanta, because at the top of it they have these 2 crowns that are a little bit different, so it kind of looks like a king and a queen. But most of Sandy Springs has, is residential with some of these mid-rise office buildings, not really the high rises that you would see in like downtown or midtown, or now Buckhead's full of high rises. That wasn't the case 15 to 20 years ago. But I think they're about 25 stories high, the King and the Queen building, both of them are, and it's right at the edge of 285 is the perimeter that goes around Atlanta, and Sandy Springs is right at in the center on the north side of that perimeter, and the King and Queen building is just outside of the perimeter on the 400 kind of runs from Buckhead up, and then 285 runs around, and the King and Queen building are right outside of 285 and just on the east side of 400. So it's really in terms of the skyline, a cool feature and really noticeable, and it's easy to tell people when when they're like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "I'm in the King and Queen building." My lender actually office is out of there. But also here in Sandy Springs, Mercedes-Benz USA, they just opened their headquarters. It's also about right over that direction. I know you can't tell where I'm at right now, but Mercedes-Benz USA just located their U.S. headquarters there. And then Cox Communications is here, Inspire Brands, which is in the restaurant business, and UPS. So there's lots of global or national corporate headquarters here in Sandy Springs, so the economy is really good. Population is about 108,000, and so it's a growing city. It's I think the 7th largest city in Georgia, and really it's like a suburb of Atlanta. Atlanta has a couple of cities around it like that. We border Cobb County. We're in Fulton County, but East Cobb, Roswell, Dunwoody, even Brookhaven, a little bit of DeKalb County. Like, those are all the things that are around Sandy Springs. And the median income is around, household income is around $78,000 a year, and the median home value is about $570,000, and then ownership is probably about 50-50 own and rent. And so that's kind of what's going on in and around Sandy Springs. Let's hop in the car, let's take you on that tour, and then again, if you'll stick around to the end, we'll come back and we'll do that market recap so that you can get up to date on the real estate market here in Sandy Springs. So off to house number 1. So we're here at property number 1 in Sandy Springs, and as I was driving in, I passed a large church, a pumpkin patch, a Steel Canyon golf club or course. It's public, but it's a nice golf course right outside of the neighborhood. We're here in a gated community called Cambridge. On the main road, they were adding on to the Lamborghini, McLaren, Koenigsegg, Rolls-Royce dealership. So Sandy Springs is a fairly affluent area, and we'll talk more about this in the market report, but it's about 50-50 own rent or own in terms of the residents, but a really phenomenal area. There's only one home in all of Sandy Springs listed right now for under $400,000. That's actually $260,000. It's very small, very dated. It's probably going to be torn down, and you see a lot of that going on from a single family home perspective. Like, anything under that $400,000 or $500,000 it is probably either going to be fully gutted and renovated or completely torn down and a new one built. So most of them are going to be in this price range, are going to be townhome, apartment, condo availability. So we're actually talking about this unit right here on the end. It's an end unit. It's got 1-car garage, 3 bedroom, 4 bath. Well, technically three full baths and 1 half bath, 1,700 square feet, listed at $400,000, built back in 2004. And I looked at the pictures online, looks really good. Haven't been in it yet, but really quiet neighborhood and really great location. This particular one's kind of in the northwest area of Sandy Springs, getting close to Roswell. 400 runs up and down. This is right off of between exit 5 and 6 on the west side of 400. So great location, great area, great little quiet neighborhood. And if your budget is $400,000 and you're looking for Sandy Springs, this is pretty indicative of what you're gonna get. So let's hop in the car and go look at property number 2. Hey, so we're here at property number 2. And it's right here behind me, right here. But in this area, really quick, look, this is a really nice, quiet, mature neighborhood, maybe 30 to 40 homes, and this is on the east side of 400. So 400 kind of runs from Buckhead straight up through Sandy Springs, Roswell, Alpharetta. Most of Sandy Springs is over actually on the west side, but on the north end, there's a big chunk over on the east side, this north of Dunwoody, a little south of Roswell. And then in this proximity, you have Dunwoody Country Club and golf courses really close by. I used to live right on the back side of that, so that's right down the street. There's lots of really big parks that you can go walk, hike, run, playground, all that kind of stuff with the kids. Really close proximity to Davis Academy, which is a Jewish private school. In this area, there's tons of public and private, secular and faith-based schools, things of that nature. Schools are hit or miss depending on what area you're in. Schools are pretty good around here. But again, this is an older neighborhood. This is the property that we're going to be talking about. It was built in 1995. And it's 3,240 square feet. It's offered at $700,000, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, but it's on like 4/10 of an acre, but it's been completely renovated on the inside and it's gorgeous. I mean, the kitchen is amazing. The master bath is to die for. Outdoor living space and eating and entertaining area. Like just a lot of bang for your buck in this area. This location is fabulous. You can jump right on exit 6 from 400 and head south into the city. That might take you maybe 30 minutes. Getting to downtown Dunwoody might be 5 or 10 minutes. Over to Sandy Springs might be, 10 to 15 minutes. But really great location, access to the highway, lots of good schools, lots of youth sports, things of that nature, and a great option if you are shopping around that $700,000 budget and looking for something that's quiet and peaceful. And again, 3,200 square feet, plenty of home, lots of bedrooms, and a great place to live. Let's go check out property number 3. All right, we're here at property number 3. We're actually going to do 4 properties today, which is we don't normally do. We only do 3, but there's such a wide variety of options. I wanted to make sure you had a really good understanding of what's going on. We're on kind of a busier road. This particular property is, as you can see, and there's a school next to me. There's lots of parks in the area, so it's primarily a residential area, but just right up the road is like you're in, restaurants, grocery stores, businesses, commercial spaces. UPS is delivering for sure. There's Amazon packages galore. But this is a primarily residential area, and you can see like really mature, old, nice trees, things of that nature. But this is the house. I almost forgot to tell you about the house itself. 5,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, listed at $950,000. Fully renovated, built in 1992, so it's about $193 a foot, I think. But fully renovated, gorgeous inside, fabulous master bath, kitchen. There's actually a full in-law suite kitchen, everything in the basement. Lots of different nooks for kids to play, or a fitness studio, yoga studio, art studio, office, library, all of those things. But I want to walk up here and show you kind of what's going on just right up this road, because in this area in Sandy Springs, most of it is outside of the perimeter. 285 is the interstate that goes around Atlanta. And the first 2 properties I showed you, they were on 285 outside of the perimeter. I'm sorry, not on 285, outside of 285, kind of on the north end. This is on the south end of Sandy Springs, and this is inside the perimeter, inside of that ring. And so in most of this, this area, you're going to see a lot of homes like that. That was 1992, and it was renovated. This one right here, this is an older home and it hasn't been updated, but this whole neighborhood right back here is a lot of these 50s, 60s, 70s homes. Some get renovated, some get knocked down and rebuilt. So throughout that neighborhood, you'll also see some custom homes popping up. And then you'll see strips like this behind me, where you just have a gorgeous new, like, custom home. I mean, look at the backyard with the playground. So in this area, you're gonna get a real big mix of homes like that and stuff like that. And then throughout that neighborhood, you're gonna see some where they've renovated them or knocked them down and built new ones. So I really like this area of Atlanta, Sandy Springs, because from Sandy Springs into like Buckhead is some of the most beautiful properties that you'll find in Atlanta. I'm sure maybe I'll highlight them on another video, but check out the footage at the end where I ride around so you can see the area. And let's head to the last house, number 4. All right, we're here at property number 4. This is the last one on the tour, and it is a showstopper, folks. We're not too far from property number 3, so we're still inside of the perimeter here in Sandy Springs, but we're off of the main road, back in a neighborhood. I can hear kids playing in the background, off in the distance, close to parks and schools and things of that nature, but it's really, really private, really quiet. Looks like they may, can't tell, they may develop some more lots down this road. A builder bought, this land between that stop sign down there, and it looks like they're just developing it, because that neighborhood that I drove through is all very, 50s, 60s, 70s. Some of it renovated, some of it knocked down and rebuilt 5, 6, 7, 8,000 square foot custom homes, which is exactly what you see here. This was built in 2021. It's brand new, custom home throughout, and as you can see, white brick, but I love that they've got the wood, you know, mixed in there too. I love when you mix like textures on a property or on the exterior of a house. But the woods behind it cannot be developed, so you're going to continue to have privacy. This property, again, custom home, it's listed at $1.7 million, 4,300 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, Wolf appliances, sub-zero, fully built out basement, tons of storage, quartz, all the bathrooms and kitchens are, you know, quartz, marble, solid stones. Like, it's just really, really pretty. And it kind of reminds me of a church. I love this big, huge A-frame with that round window at the top. I mean, details like that. I hope my wife doesn't watch this, because she'll be looking at me like, hey, is that house still available? No, sweetheart, we're not moving. But if we did, this would be a fabulous option. So that's property number 4. Let's hop in the car and head on back and do that market recap. All right, so I'm here in the Sandy Springs City Center area, and I hope you enjoyed your tour, but I'm at one of my favorite coffee shops. It's called Cafe Vendome, and it's a Parisian cafe. I took some French in high school, but I do not speak French. But the coffee's great, so if you're around here, you should stop by. Before I dive into just like the market data and give you guys an update, I want to give you kind of an idea of what's going on around Sandy Springs in the city. And so the city center where I started, they do a lot of events, but Sandy Springs is just in general a really great place to live. And so some of the things that they do around here and throughout the city is, like, one thing they do is it's fall, it's October, so they actually do like they call it Spooky Springs. It's like a family-friendly, safe place for kids to go trick-or-treating, and that's in late October. And then they do weekend farmers markets too, and so you can come down here for that whole farmers market feel if that's something you're into. And we're coming up on the annual wine festival. So those are just some things that are going on now in and around the area. And then throughout the entire city, there are a ton of, like, you know, youth sports, parks and recreation, that kind of stuff. So I pulled up just a couple of things that they had going on. One being like gymnastics, tennis. Oh, you can go rent that, like, we're in the city, but you can go rent paddle boards, canoes, kayaks, that kind of stuff, which is a whole lot of fun if you're looking for like outdoor activities in the area. So there are a ton of like sports, parks, recreation, places for you to get out with the family. I took mine maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago to, it's called the Big Tree Preserve, which is one of my favorite parks. It's this massive long trail weaves through the woods, and it's more like a hike. You know, some of these parks and trails you can go biking or hiking or running. No, this is a hike, but it's really family friendly. I have 8, 6, 5, and 3-year-olds, 2 girls, 2 boys, and they had no problems whatsoever. And there's like streams and water and things for them to, you know, get off the beaten path and have fun. And so that's called the Big Tree Preserve. And then Abernathy Greenway is one that they've just kind of carved out a green space and a playground right here in the like Abernathy Roswell Road area. So there's kind of things like that all throughout. There's actually, let me see how many, there's almost 1,000 acres of park in 16 different parks. So lots of outdoor activities for the family all times of year, and whether you want to bike or hike or walk or whatever you want to do, you can get out there and do that. And it does, it borders the Chattahoochee River, and so I think there's about 20 miles of Chattahoochee River that it borders. So hence the reason you can paddleboard and kayak and get out and do stuff like that and get and do some water sports. Like, you know, you're probably not going to go skiing, but if you're into fishing and outdoor activities on the river, then you can for sure take advantage of that. And then you know, horsebacking, photography, wildlife, all the kind of stuff that you would want to do if you like outdoor living. And then tons of stuff if you're more into the arts. They have the Performing Arts Center and things of that nature. So something for everybody. And like I said, it's bordered right up against Atlanta, so access to the city. Down to the airport, depending if you go through the city or take 285 in traffic, I'd say into the city is 20 to 40 minutes depending on traffic. In the city, you would find like Georgia State, Georgia Tech, obviously this Midtown in the city. We're right north of Buckhead, so that might be 10 to 20 minutes depending on traffic. If you had to go to the airport, that's probably 30 to 40 minutes without traffic, probably 30 minutes without traffic, whether you go around or through, and then with traffic, it could easily be 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how. So that kind of gives you a lay of the land of, like, from a traffic perspective, where you're at, what you're doing in and around Sandy Springs. And here at the City Center, I talked about the King and Queen building. That's just like maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And so Perimeter Mall is probably the closest mall that you would go to. Not that a ton of people go to the malls anymore, but in and around this area, you're always going to have access to, grocery stores, bars, restaurants, some nightlife. It's one of the best places for like young professionals, who want some city life and want to be close proximity to, career growth, things of that nature. I talked about the corporate headquarters that were here. So lots going on in Sandy Springs. If you go west, you'll hit East Cobb. Once you cross over like the Chattahoochee, you end up in Cobb County. We're in Fulton County, and so whether your public schools are really good, I mean, some of them could use a little bit of improvement, but most of them are okay. Some of them are phenomenal. Private schools, there's going to be tons of access to that. Right around the corner, you have Sandy Springs United Methodist Church. My kids went to preschool there before my wife went to work at North Point, where they all finished out. But that church was established, I think, in like 1851 or something like that. So that's a really cool, old established building here in the Sandy Springs area. And so that's kind of, Breadwinners is another one of my favorite spots to grab lunch. And that's one word, Breadwinners. You have to check it out when you're here. What else I'm like, I don't want to miss. I want to give you all the things. But let's just dive into the market report. And then if I forget anything, maybe we'll circle back for that at the end. Or, hey, if you're in and around Sandy Springs and I missed something, like, you're welcome to drop that in the comments below. So right now, in terms of total homes for sale on the market, there's 165, and 137 of those were listed in the last month. So things are still turning over and moving really quickly. Days on market is really just about 10 days. And so if they're priced right, they don't stay on the market long. They really move quickly. What's the total inventory? Let me see. Where is it? There it is. Month supply is about a month and a half. That means that if we didn't list any more homes in 6 weeks, there'd be no homes available. So again, 165 on market, but new 137. So they're moving quickly. A month and a half of inventory. The average price per foot in the area is about $188. Now that could vary drastically depending on, is it a older home, fixer-upper, is it brand new construction, but average across the board is right at 188 days. And again, they're only on the market for about a week and a half. I will say that I pulled up a couple of things that I thought would be interesting. You saw a variety of options on the tour. In terms of single family homes, right the second as I'm shooting this video, the cheapest one is $440,000. It's built in 1967, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2,415 square feet, and it's move-in ready, meaning like it's in good condition, but it's definitely dated. And so there's lots of room to either update that or a lot of what's going on. I think I mentioned to you earlier was that a lot of people are just knocking them down and rebuilding them. And so the cheapest one's $440,000, and the most expensive home on the market right now is just under $9 million at $8.9 million. That home was built in 2021, so it's brand new. It's 14,000 square feet, 8 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and how much land is it on? And it's on 11 acres. So an absolutely stunning estate home, custom built, and that's just $8.9 million. And so if you're looking, how long has that been on the market? It's been on the market for 134 days. So it's been there a couple of months. Things move slower for sure in that price point, but if that's in your budget, that would be an interesting property to check out. I'm just flipping through the pictures, and yeah, it's everything you would expect. I mean, it's gorgeous. So with that being said, Sandy Springs is kind of that good balance between city life and suburban life. You get all the things that you would want in proximity to the city. West on 285 over to Truist Park. The Braves beat the Dodgers. They're going to the World Series, so that's maybe 15 to 20 minutes down the road with no traffic. Shoot into the city to a Falcons game, a Hawks game, Atlanta United game. That's maybe half an hour with, depending on traffic. So lots to be desired about this area. Like I said, if you're from Sandy Springs, have lived here, do live here, and I missed something, I welcome you to drop that in the comments below, because we're trying to be a resource for those of you relocating around from across the country, and they're trying to get as much info as possible, so let's try to provide it, and I always welcome that. We appreciate all of our viewers, all of our subscribers. If you're not already, you want to stay up to date on the market here in Atlanta, then subscribe below, click the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the market here in Atlanta, and we would love to be a resource to help you. So if you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, feel free to give us a call, schedule a Zoom, and we'd be happy to help you make it a smooth move to Atlanta, or in this case, Sandy Springs. I'm Denny. Until next time, I hope to see you around town or maybe on the next episode. Take care.